Hey everyone, welcome to another movie chat show. I'm here with Tim Allen tonight. Hey
Hello.
Tim.
Hey.
And so far, I'm just going to say hello to James Farley, who's the only one so far in the comments waiting for us. So here we go, a new year. I know we were on last week and everything. Tom Hunyadi will not be joining us tonight, and I don't know how much I've got here to talk about, but I have a few things I say picked up, even though I should say they were delivered. Same thing, I didn't pick them up. All these, and only one movie I watched. Again, I've been watching a lot of Taxi. Every episode, I mean, maybe 2-3 episodes a night of Taxi is what we've been watching. That's what I've been watching mostly. And I feel like I watched some movies though in a roundabout way, but I can't remember what the hell they were. So, boy, that's something. I can't remember a week, but it was just like on TV. I mean, like TV with commercials and that kind of thing. So, hello, Mike. Hello, Eddie.
Hello, Mike. Hello, Eddie.
So let's see. Oh well, first of all, David Lynch passed on.
Yeah, I just heard that a couple hours ago.
I don't know anything really. I mean, am I aware of? I mean, I know how everybody likes him. I just don't know if I'm familiar with a lot of stuff.
Well, I wasn't a big fan, to be honest. He's a little out there for me. He did that movie Blue Velvet, if you remember that. He did Blue Velvet. He did God, what movie I couldn't stand, but I think he did a movie about a bug exterminator, and it's weird. And Naked Lunch, I think that's him. It's an out there kind of director. And Twin Peaks, of course, a TV show. He did that.
Oh, that's big. Yeah. It's a big shoe. All right, so I might as well start out with some finds. You said you didn't get any new acquisitions this past.
I found nothing in the last week.
Oh, thank you, Nick, for filling us in. Dune 84 was David Lynch. Does anybody know? Let us know of stuff. All right. The stuff that I got here was ordered from Amazon, and it took a long time. It's usually Amazon comes pretty quick. I don't know what was up with this, but then again, I thought there was a strike. Is there still a strike at Amazon? There was some kind of strike around the holidays.
No, I didn't hear of a strike at all. What did I know of?
Well, actually, I did have one that I got out of my record store. Let me start with that. I just got done saying Amazon. We'll save those. First one, of course, I've been seeing. That's not proper English. I saw the movie A Complete Unknown, so I got Dylan on the mind. So I picked this up, which I'd seen already, but not in a long time. No Direction Home. Martin Scorsese. I don't remember being knocked out by this that much, but I'm on a Dylan craze right now, so I wanted to
loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I loved it. I've seen it. I saw it when it was on PBS, and they mistakenly showed the first time. They showed it again, and they didn't. There's two versions. There's an unedited version and an edited version, and they showed the unedited version, and you've got Joan Baez swearing her head off.
Well, this might be
on PBS, and it's like, oops.
Oh, the Elephant Man. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't dislike it. I just remember like not thinking that much of it or something. But I don't know. But you know what? I didn't know. I looked at the date on this thing. It's 2005.
Yeah,
20 years ago.
I know. It's amazing that it was that long ago.
I mean, are you kidding? I remember seeing it on TV.
Yeah,
20 years.
For me, I have a bootleg copy of it. I'll be honest, but it's perfect quality. Because I got it before it even came out on DVD. But for me, I like that film so much. I thought that that's what they should have done with the Beatles 64 thing.
No.
And
Okay.
they didn't. I mean, to me, because this is, they took an existing film, that Dylan 65, 66 tour film, whatever it's called, I forget, and they turned it into that. And I'm like, they should have done the same thing with the Beatles film, and they just dropped the ball, in my opinion. But anyway.
Wasn't there an interview with Dylan, like a more modern interview with him here and there?
Yeah, no, he's in it. He's in it modern too, and they should have gotten Paul and more Paul and more Ringo than they had in it, and drop the other people unless they're important. Like, Dylan didn't have important people in it, or anybody in it that wasn't important. They didn't have just talking heads.
I have not heard of this. I don't think. I'm Not Here, Dylan movie. Have you heard of that?
I like that movie a lot. Yeah, it's a fictional movie with like 7 different people playing Dylan in different parts of his life. And one of them, the best one, is Kate Blanchett.
Oh, we talked about that. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
and she's amazing as Dylan.
I can't. On principle, I can't. Well, I guess it would. I shouldn't say that. I might see it and like it.
You see it. You don't even realize it's a woman. You just don't. She's like so good.
I think last week I talked about Don't Look Back. Is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah,
the
Don't
movie?
Look Back. Yeah, they took Don't Look Back and they turned it into No Direction Home.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see. Now, I tried watching this with my nephew not too long ago, too many years ago, and I was like, oh, I don't like this. I didn't like it. I don't know. What can I say? Rolling Thunder.
The show is, I don't understand the white makeup. That's the thing that's always bugged me about that. The show is fine. I don't get the...
I was going to say Eraserhead, but I wasn't sure.
Eraserhead, yeah. Yeah, Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive. Yeah.
Hi, Robbie.
Hello.
All right, so I showed you the one that I actually got out of a store. Now these 3 I ordered first, and I got through the Amazon. First one was, I just did a review of this. And I'm going to still talk about it a little bit as my only watched movie this week that I recall watching. Skin Deep. I wish I had more light. I could turn on the other light, but anyway, John Ritter, nice. I wish I was in that situation. But anyway, Blake Edwards.
Yeah.
Then this is an upgrade. I don't know. It was cheap, so I said, okay. It's another Charlton Heston movie, and it's a cowboy movie, Western, called Will Penny, which is pretty good. I've seen it. I like it. And this is a Blu-ray of it. I haven't watched it yet. I mean, I've seen it a lot of years ago, and it's got some interesting actors in here, if I could remember them all. Joan Hackett, Donald Pleasance, who I recall being really over the top, too over the top for me. Bruce Dern, Ben Johnson, Lee Majors, Slim Pickens, Anthony Zerby, who I love from the Omega Man. So there's a lot of people in this. And I remember one time, Charlton Heston always said, he asked him, like, what you think your best role is or your best performance? And he always said, I always say the next one. And then he says, I'm always hoping that I'll get it right one time. And then his wife was with him, and he said, what do you think? And she said, Will Penny. And he said, yeah, I think that was one role maybe that I could pick, because I think I did it about as good as I could do it, like get it right. So that kind of thing. So let's see. We got Blue Velvet. Yeah, you mentioned that.
Blue Velvet.
Sharon Stone talks about Bob Dylan putting it on because of Kiss. Well, if that's the case, I always said, people talk about Dylan and what an influencer and innovator he was, like to the Beatles and stuff. And I certainly accept that and agree with that. The thing is, though, other people influenced Dylan. Don't forget that.
I mean, yeah.
So I recently saw Dylan live. He doesn't play guitar anymore, just piano. Yeah, he sits down all the time. I mean, oh, maybe he's up there. He can't stand much.
He can't. He played at Farm Aid last year. He played guitar. And literally, God, why can't I remember anybody's name anymore? Tom Petty's lead guitar player. It was Petty's band mostly.
Oh yeah.
Mike Campbell. Mike Campbell literally had to stand right next to him the entire time just to make sure, he didn't fall over or anything. I mean, Mike Campbell never got more than like 2 feet away from him.
It's getting more and more of a concern and a reality.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. That's why he plays piano. At least he plays piano. He wasn't like Brian Wilson did for the last 10 years and just sits in front of a piano and doesn't even touch it.
Yeah, and of course I knew Mike Campbell, but somehow I got distracted by thinking other things.
Yeah.
When you said Tom Petty, my mind's thinking when when Dylan played with Tom Petty.
Yeah.
That's
how Mike Campbell. That's how Mike Campbell. Dylan knows the whole band. Like a bunch of those guys, I think, were from Petty's band, and then those other people. But
I also picked up a classic Criterion. I picked up or I got it delivered. Anyway, and I really don't love this movie. I don't, but I have it. I figured I always wanted to get the Incredible Shrinking Man. I wanted to get the upgrade, so to speak, because the one I have is not that great quality. But I don't love the movie. But I hate these covers. I got to tell you, I said, Tom, I wish you were here because Criterion's always, that's the biggest, the greatest. It was for a big time, and I even heard somebody else say that. I forget where. I was watching some video thing, and he said, it used to be Criterion was everything, but now other boutique labels have stepped up their game. Yeah. And what a lousy cover. I hate when they play games with the cover. At least to me, it's a lousy cover.
But it's thanks to them that, there are boutique labels. I don't think there would be without Criterion.
Thank you, Criterion, and now bye-bye. So, let me just talk about, I only got one. I did a video of this, so I'll talk about it as first. One of the first ones here I was showing Skin Deep, Blake Edwards movie. Talked about, some of you may not, most of you may not watch the video, but I got a story about it, and the story is that I was sick from 1984 to 89, 5 years, and when I say sick, I just mean I wasn't right. I had problems. I won't go into all of them, but mood, emotion, anxiety, confusion. Like I just had a lot of things going on, and it wasn't mental. What happened was the more that it happened, the more I would become mental. Like in other words, if you have something wrong with you, and you start worrying about it, putting that anxiety and fear on top of your problem, now you got everything. So I went from doctor to doctor. They couldn't find out anything. Finally I found out. It took 5 years. Just as 1989 was getting underway, I started to find out. Like I said, it's 5 years. I started to find out that it was just about what I was eating, or at least that's what would help it anyway. And if I just got rid of sugar and I didn't eat a lot of garbage and stuff like that, I would get some relief, and that's what happened. And then 89 went on to be a fantastic year. I wound up meeting. Well, I met my ex. Well, I say met my ex. I had known her already. Then we kind of rekindled something. Anyway, so I had a woman in my life, and I'll get into how this fits. And suddenly, I was on a track to try to stay on the straight and narrow as far as eating properly goes. Now, I did that good from 1989 to 1994. The last 30 years, I've been eating everything, and not feeling my best, but not as bad as I was then. So I talked about all that to tell you that, I was just wandering around, just trying to stay alive, basically, until I could get the right answer. And I stumbled on this movie, which is just it's funny. It's a comedy, but it's also got some serious themes, and it's not straight comedy. And it's about a guy played by John Ritter, who's going through his own problems, nothing like me. He's a womanizer. I mean, the movie starts where he gets caught fooling around with the hairdresser, female hairdresser of his mistress. And his wife catches the mistress coming in to shoot John Ritter for fooling around with the mistress's hairdresser. It's like in other words, he screws around with everybody. And he's an alcoholic, and he's a writer who can't write anymore. So I didn't identify with the exact problem. I mean, it wasn't as an alcoholic. It wasn't that I was running around with every woman in the world. Right. That'd be nice. But no, I wasn't doing that. But I was lost. And I was like, he's trying in this movie to find the answers and try to get himself together. And I sort of clicked with that at that point. And by the time I saw this in March of 89, 36 years ago, talked about No Direction Home being 20 years ago. I remember seeing this in the theater like it was yesterday, literally. And
I saw it.
You did. And, and like I say, it's not, after a while I'll ask you what you think. I don't think it's a great movie. I don't think it's even a good movie. But for some reason, I saw it like 2 or 3 times by myself at a matinee, just sitting there. And I don't know. At the end, he finally tries to unravel himself, and he's praying to God and everything for direction and all this kind of stuff. And it was one of those movies that resonated with me because of where I was. I watched it again, first time since 1989, and it's amazing. My memory is good for stuff like this because I could remember like dialogue, frames by frame from that long ago, 36 years. And I didn't think it was it didn't strike me now like it did then. It doesn't have the same thing. I didn't think it was much. I didn't think it was much then. But what do you think? Can you remember?
I mean, I thought it was, I won't mention the two really funny scenes, but
I will.
No, it wasn't much. It wasn't a great movie, but I was glad I'd seen it. If you know what I mean. And I never liked John Ritter. I know he's good at his sort of comedy and stuff, but to me that's all he was good for, slapstick. And that movie put him in a little bit better light for me. So it made me appreciate John Ritter more.
Yeah, I had always liked John Ritter. I mean, he was on the Waltons too. He played a priest on the Waltons early on. And then mostly for Three's Company, but he's good with the physical comedy.
Yeah.
And there's some physical comedy scene in here that's pretty good. That's a good scene when one of his angry ex-girlfriends catches him. She's working at a spa, and she's working on what do they call it? Like a muscle coordination machine thing. And she's like got him strapped down, and he's like screwing up with his muscles. And then he's like does this contortion stuff where he goes out. He's trying to leave the spa outside, and he's like going spastic. That was a funny scene. And I will mention, I'll try to say it, there's a so-called glow-in-the-dark condom scene that was really big back then. It was funny, has to do with him, like, he's wearing a glow-in-the-dark thing with some woman, and then the boyfriend comes in, and he's got to hide, and then both of them are wearing these glow-in-the-dark things, and the lights go out.
Yeah.
Well, he sees blackness, and you see these two colorful objects like running around, fighting each other and stuff, and
bobbing around.
Well, good word. And I gotta say, and especially at the time, it was kind of humorous and
but the other scene for me is the female bodybuilder scene. I remember.
Oh yeah, female bodybuilder. That's right. Yeah. I'd like to try that one time. But whatever. But anyway, whatever, and So there's a long explanation, but too bad John Ritter. How he died young and relatively young, and he had a heart problem, and they thought it was a heart attack or something. I believe, and it wasn't. It was something else, and it wasn't diagnosed properly or something, from what I understand. But yeah. All right. Hey, Kimba, what's going on?
Greetings, Kimba.
Hello, Matchstick Man.
Hello.
He hasn't spoken. Yeah, that whole, like, I don't know, weird enigma crap about Dylan. Sometimes I wonder if Dylan's really like that, like he's elusive and he doesn't give any, he's vague and mysterious. Is that like really his personality, or is he just trying to be, pain in the ass? Which one is it? I don't know.
Well, the movie I'm Not Here tries to point out that there's like 7 different Bob Dylans, and I kind of believe that. I think he goes through these phases of today he's this person, 2 months from now he'll be a completely. I think he really has done that in his life. I think he's just very odd that way.
I mean, I saw a video of Dylan singing "Happy Birthday" fairly recently to somebody. I thought it was Brian Wilson, but what do I know? Was it Paul McCartney?
I don't know, but I mean, but I've always said, and this is slightly off movie topic, but Dylan did a radio show. He did like 50 episodes, and
right.
He is a surprisingly good DJ, in my opinion. He's one of the best show hosts I've ever heard, and you wouldn't expect it because it's Bob Dylan, but he's just really, really good.
Did you ever see him in Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid?
No, I haven't.
I tried to watch that one time, but I mean, not the whole thing. But Dylan, he's not very. He didn't stand out in it. He has a part in there. Hello, Clownfist, aka Mello. The John Ritter. I forgot there was a movie. Stay tuned and Hero at Large. I'm gonna have to look those two up and see what I think of them. So that's me on my end. Now, Tim, it's your turn to tell us what you've been up to.
Well, what I've been up to is the same. I might stop this. I don't know, just because of this show, but I'm still watching Something Weird videos. I've watched I think 5 movies in the past week. 2 of them are on this disc. Teaser Mania and Varieties. They're just they're silly. By today's standards, these are silly movies. They're complete. I own it for the same reason most people own it, Betty Page, because she didn't do much as far as she was a model. Most of these women were burlesque, stars. Betty never did that. She was just a model. So to see her in color, there's even a short part of another film that was so bad they couldn't present it, but they could save some clips where she even speaks. It's the only time on film where she ever speaks.
I wonder if you could talk about some of those without showing some of the racy pictures. I mean, I know it might take something away from it, but
they're just drawings anyway. For one thing, they're just drawings. They're not naked. Me. They're wearing bikinis.
You did it already. It's not me. It's not my idea.
There's no nothing in any of these. I mean, and that's the thing. But the best part about these is they both have a commentary with Mike Brainey, who founded Something Weird Video, and David F. Friedman, who owned the rights at the time to these movies. And he gives the whole history of burlesque and Irving Klaw, who made the films, and that in itself just they kind of overlap a little bit because originally they came out on 2 different releases, so they didn't care if he said a lot of the same stuff, but they're interesting stories, and for me that's the best part of these whole things. It's just learning about what was going on at the time. But there's nothing in these films. They might even could be on YouTube easily. There's nothing in them that there's no nudity. There's no
some of them have softcore in there. I have some.
Well, it's something weird. I'm talking just about Teaser Mania and Varieties. There's nothing. They could be on YouTube. The couple women stripped down to like a bikini top and a bikini bottom, and that's it. And they bow, and there's nothing. I've seen way on YouTube than anything in there. But again, they use it for the commentaries. And then I watched Unholy Matrimony, Nothing Bad Here, and My Third Wife, George.
Okay, yeah, these are the kind of movies they were fascinating to me for a while. Movies you never heard of, some of them.
Yeah, and I'd never seen either of these, and I'm sure I thought I'd seen every movie. I'm glad I'm doing this in a way because I thought I'd seen all of these. Unholy Matrimony is this sort of expose film. It's supposed to be a docudrama kind of thing. It's just bull about swingers, about wife swappers, and this reporter gets this other woman to go along with him, and they join and they meet up with wife swappers, and it's just it's silly.
I love these though. I mean, they made these movies like in the 60s mostly, right?
Yeah, This one's probably 68. Variety and the other one are 53 and 54. They were made. They were
these things they used to play like drive-ins and things, right? And it used to just like, and it's great that somebody would just make these kind of movies on like with 60 millimeter camera.
Lots of nudity in both of these films. These films you couldn't show on YouTube, and but the strange thing about the Unholy Matrimony is this guy he just knows this girl that he thinks will go along with it. He's getting $5,000 as a reporter, as a bonus from his boss for doing this story. She's getting nothing. she's got to go along and do it. It's just like, what? And then when she finally decides that she should get something, he's like all affronted by it. It's ridiculous.
Different times.
Yeah. And My Third Wife, George, is this just weird comedy. It's a comedy about this guy he's drunk, and he's lived with his mother his whole life, and he gets married to a couple women, and it doesn't work out. He kills one of them, and then at the end, somebody kills him. The end. It's bizarre because it's a comedy. It's just it's another excuse for naked women running around, and
that's all they cared about back then. That's where you would go, I guess, if you wanted some cheap thrills.
And then this one, the guy that directed this one, it says his name is Joel Walsh, but I think that's a pseudonym. He's one of these New York guys. Might be Joe Sarno, but I'm not sure. But I watched one of these. There's 3 movies on this. I watched the top one, The Ultimate Degenerate.
Titles, man. These titles are great.
The Ultimate Degenerate is just that. It's just, this film is just an excuse to get as many women completely naked. This is 1969. So starting in 1969, it could be completely
my favorite number.
Films, Kimba. In 1969 was the first year you could be completely. Women could, men couldn't for like another year or something. And this is this woman. It starts out with this woman, the star, who every afternoon there's an old man across the way, and she strips for him in the window to get his jollies off, and her roommate doesn't like it. Blah blah blah. So she answers an ad in a newspaper to be from some sort of sex ad. You don't really know what it is. And she goes to this weird guy's house and blah, blah, blah. He's into all sorts of bizarre stuff. But of course, it turns out that the really bizarre one is his assistant. And it's just silly and stupid.
But you seem to be watching them.
Well, I'm fascinated that these things are made. To me,
I agree with you. I understand completely where you're coming from. And in fact, I've already watched a lot of them and have written them down, so I could actually go into my files And even though I haven't seen them in years, I could do videos on them based on what I'd written.
But that's another one I don't remember ever seeing before, which is weird because, like I said, I thought I'd seen all of these. But so that's what I've seen this week. So next week we look forward to The Hot Blood and Lusting Hours. We look forward.
I remember having one called Help Wanted Female.
I have that. I have that in here somewhere.
There was another one. What was the other one? Agony of something. Agony of Love. And I wrote Agony is Right. It said it was terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see if. See, the problem with these, trying to find when I'm looking for Help Wanted Female, is there's 2 or 3 on each one, and I've just got them in here automatically by the first film. So if it's not the first film, I don't know what disc it's on.
Very, very interesting. So Let It Be in 78 in the movie theater, they had this short with naked women. Let It Be was rated G.
Well, those were different times. Again,
Hi, Jeff. Yeah, I have that. I used to have that too. I don't know if I still have it. It was just trailers, right? Scum of the Earth. Remember Scum of the Earth? The Defilers. I mean, and some of these, that's it. Yeah, extra weird sample. And a lot of these things you really can't, it's hard these days because I kind of think of it. A lot of these you can't talk about really because there's one of the Defilers.
No, this is my problem with this, and I think not even that I can't, but what do you say about it? They're all the same in a way, I mean, a lot of them are anyway. Some of them are going to be very easy to talk about, and I actually like the films. But yeah. But anyway,
because like something like the Defilers is very, if I remember correctly, hugely misogynistic. If like you would kind of imagine.
A lot of them are, but some of them are. I'm looking through here, and some of them are actually like The Beast That Killed Women. I like this film. This is a nudist camp movie with a monster in it, and it's just fun.
Yeah, Monster Camp Sunshine.
The Monster of Camp Sunshine. They're both good movies. They're both interesting. They're not good movies. They're interesting movies.
Yeah, they're interesting. They're definitely interesting what people could do. And a lot of, I remember seeing some that were like they were on location in like Manhattan. Like some of them just filmed around Manhattan.
Oh yeah. This one I guarantee was filmed in New York. Well, I know it was. Because of a lot of the outdoor scenes, and the same guy that did the Flesh series, The Curse of Her Flesh.
Those I still have.
I think that's the same guy that did Ultimate Degenerate. I'm pretty sure it is.
I think it was him and his wife, Roberta Finley, and something.
Oh,
Finley.
Okay, it's the Finleys, and that's who that's. I'm pretty sure that's the Ultimate Degenerate. He even stars in them under a different name. I mean, it's him. I recognize the guy.
And they're the original. They're like one of the original slasher kind of films, really, in a weird way.
Yeah.
One of them is called Kiss of Her Flesh. The other one's called Curse of Her Flesh.
They're coming up because
this is tough stuff.
The Touch of Her Flesh, the Curse of Her Flesh, and the Kiss of Her Flesh. Yeah, they're all on one disc.
That's a trilogy that I still have. That one I have box and all with that one because that was a wild ride. I watched those 3. Again, they were fascinating.
But what do you say about them? I'd rather talk about the Yoko film that's in here. I'd rather talk
Burning
about
Bed.
That.
No, not the Burning Bed. The
Satan's Bed. Satan's Bed. Yeah, but we'll see. Maybe I'll just watch 1 or 2. Maybe I'll watch 1 disc a week. But if I watch 1 disc a week, it'll take me 2 or 3 years to get through.
Well, you better just think about how you're going to present them when you come on here. So,
well, I know that.
But
anyway, I don't know.
Any more of those?
That's all I've watched this week. Like I said, I've got 2 more to watch on that disc.
Because I just thought of something else that I watched. Didn't see the whole thing, but I saw a lot of it last night. This is totally changing the subject to something better, I think. And that's Alfred Hitchcock. There was a Hitchcock special or something on Turner, TCM, whatever. No, the
Mm-hmm.
movie channel. That is the TCM. I'm all mixed up. Whatever, the movie channel. Yeah, Turner Classic Movies. I don't even know what it is. Turner Classic Movies, TCM. And it was a documentary, and all it did was had a narrator and just showing you clips from Hitchcock movies and how amazing he was.
Mm-hmm.
It really is some amazing stuff. And I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen Hitchcock movies. I mean, but I've seen. Here's what I know I've seen. I've seen like Rope. I've seen Strangers on a Train. I've seen Shadow of a Doubt. Maybe I've seen more than I thought I did. The second one of the man. What was it? Who knew too much?
The Man Who Knew Too Much. Yeah, the '50s version with Doris Day.
I saw Dial M for Murder. Of course, I saw Psycho, The Birds, Frenzy. Like that's and Vertigo, but not. I want to give that a better review. But anyway, that's what I've seen of it. But there's so many old movies, and it's incredible. I was watching like these beautifully orchestrated shots, camera shot, and things he was doing, and they were. And I said, I have to see all Hitchcock movies, everything.
Oh, even his silent ones are good.
Yeah, they
I
showed you some silent
probably
ones.
95% of them. There's still a couple of silents I haven't seen. And he has a lost film, actually. And so I haven't seen that, obviously. There's one lost Hitchcock film.
But yeah, I mean, that's what you're talking about. Now you're talking about a master,
Yeah.
of filmmaking. And yeah, I definitely want to catch up with some of those. You know, there's a lot of popular ones I haven't seen even. So what else? What's on everybody's minds? Notice I didn't say so-called minds. I said minds. Been around. I stopped watching Columbo. Remember, I was watching Columbo like every night, and I stopped only because I went over to Taxi. So I was to watch comedy with Taxi.
I haven't finished my second Columbo set either.
I mean, I just get into something else, but I got to do that. And if I pick days of the week or nights of the week, like whatever, Saturday's Columbo night or Monday's Taxi, whatever, it'll be a lot easier that way. We lost the great filmmaker. Yeah, we talked about him before.
Yeah.
Probably the greatest filmmaker of all time. Well,
I
can't say.
I'm going to disagree with that, but not for me anyway.
Oh, I know something I wanted to talk a little bit about. Did I talk about this last time? Did I talk a little bit about an officer and a gentleman? Did I talk about that last time? No. This is the movie An Officer and a Gentleman. It's not the type of movie that I ever would want to see, really. When I was 20 years old, here I go, one of my stories, in 1982, it was in the theaters. And somehow my friends and I, we went and saw it. And I thought it was excellent. I thought An Officer and a Gentleman, one of the greatest movies I'd ever seen. And I said, just watch it on that theater screen. I said, this guy, Louis Gossett Jr., is going to receive, or should receive, the Academy Award. And he did. He wound up getting it. I didn't even know if he was nominated. I just knew it right away. Same as I knew that sometimes you can tell what's going to be something that should be, like in the case of Lou Gossett Jr., I thought he deserved it. And in cases where it's kind of correctness, I don't mean that for him, but I mean that in My Cousin Vinny, I knew that Marissa Tomei, I said, she's going to be nominated for an Oscar for this because it just felt like an Oscar kind of move. And anyway, so An Officer and a Gentleman, I loved it so much that I got the VHS tape back when there were VHS tapes. It came out, and I showed that to everybody, friends that hadn't seen it. My mother showed my grandmother. Everybody that loved it, saw it, really liked it. And a very emotional movie. So what happened was I haven't seen it. I know the last year. I watched it about 10 times in 1983, the year after, when I got the VHS. Never seen it since 1983. And for some reason, I've never wanted to see it again because I felt I really OD'd on it. But one of these people that do videos where they react to movies they've seen the first time they're seeing it, I watched that. It was only like a half an hour, and it all came back to. I said, "This is a great freaking movie," and I was getting teary eyed, and I was getting emotional, and I said, "I am going to have to get this on Blu-ray." Now here we go with a movie that An Officer and a Gentleman that has a little romance to it, right? So my girlfriend loves romance. So I said, "Did you ever see An Officer and a Gentleman?" She says, "No, but I can't stand Richard Gere." She says, I'm like, "Well, finally I got one that's not a monster movie. You want to watch it? I'm going to get it." She goes, "Sure, I will. Sure." And so I think she'll like it when she sees it. I'm going to get that. And even though I didn't really see it again, the whole thing, just watching it through that video where two women were looking at it the first time, I thought, yeah. I mean, I like it. Deborah Winger. I liked her in that one. I really did when I was younger. Deborah Winger and performances. Look, I watch stupid stuff like Dracula versus Frankenstein and this kind of stuff we're talking about. But for me, the best movies, most of the greatest movies I like, have characters and story. Story and characters that you invested in. Those are like the best movies. Marissa, you mean? Does Tom like? You mean Tim? Does Tim like Eraserhead?
No, I think they mean Tom. We don't know what Tom likes. He's not here.
Speaking of Tom, the Phantom of the Paradise is going to be in a theater around here, well, fairly close, and it's like I didn't like it. I really expected to like it. Oh, forget that. I think anybody seriously with that. Got it?
Yeah. No thanks.
Yeah, I never got a taxi driver like that. I'd gotten taxi drivers. I never got one like that. Holy mackerel. Never. But I still say, talking about Taxi, I mean, I like the characters on there. There's different characters. Of course, what can you say about Louis De Palma? It's a great nasty guy performance by Danny DeVito. Judd Hirsch is the level-headed friend that always solves everybody's problems. And then you got Nardo. You got well, she's just pretty. Marilu Henner, and well, I just don't like the character of Bobby. He's Jeff Conaway's boring, and Jim Ignatowski by Christopher Lloyd is pure perfection. What a great freaking! My girlfriend laughs at everything he says. Any line he throws out, she's laughing. He does a good job playing a stoner that's really like got his brains fried. Oh man!
Eventually,
It's going to be you soon if you don't watch out, Clownfist. You're going to be like Jim Ignatowski. You're going to be just like Christopher Lloyd in Taxi. Oh, shoot. All right, so we're caught up now, and the good thing I thought of some other things to talk about here while we're waiting. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. I totally forgot about Andy Kaufman. I never really cared for him as Andy Kaufman at all, but his character of Latka, I think, is it's a cute character. It's good and it works in Taxi. But now I'm into the episodes where, as I read, he didn't like it. I don't want to just do this anymore. The Latka character, the foreign character. I want to branch out and I want to do different personalities. So now he's doing Vic or whatever. He's being the cool guy, and he comes in, and he's now we went to the part in the fourth season where he's got personality disorders and he changes personalities. It's like I don't know. I don't go for that.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell I forgot him.
And I just had her name and now I forgot it. She joined the cast as his girlfriend.
Oh, Simca, whatever. I didn't get
Carol Kane. Is that her name?
Yeah, Kane.
That's kind of where she gets the first place I ever saw her was Taxi.
I think Taxi's Jim is funnier than Kramer by miles. Although I still like Kramer, but he's somebody said that the other day. He's like taken probably inspired by Jim from Taxi and Ed Norton. You had the the neighbor, the crazy guy, the dumb guy. But I mean, I like Kramer. Don't get
if you watch Fridays, Kramer's doing a lot of that on Fridays because he was a regular on Fridays. Yeah. A lot of that stuff comes from stuff he was doing on Fridays.
Yeah. Got to get back to Lost in Space. Damn, I left off Attack of the Monster Plants or something in like the first season. I just never got back to it.
I did it once. That's enough.
Man, 10 years. This year will mark 10 years that I had the Blu-ray set and still haven't watched every episode. I mean, I watched certain episodes in the second and third seasons, but I never watched them just all the way through. 10 years.
I sat through it all the way through, and that's enough.
Look, I love it. Tiptoe through the tulips. Hello, Aroma loves Dan. Yeah. Weird Al's movie, Michael Richards role. You know what I like Michael Richards in? Young Doctors in Love. Does anybody know that movie? It's a comedy. Don't let the title fool you. It's a comedy like Airplane. It's called Young Doctors in Love, and about a hospital. People that are like,
it's supposed. It's like a takeoff on a soap opera, isn't it? Isn't it like a
I don't think it had a. It had
the soap opera. That's what I always thought. It like the Young Doctors were soap opera.
No, I'm trying to think who was in there. Michael, who's the guy? Michael McKean. Michael McKean was in there. Sean Young, who I met her and got a photo with her. She was back then. I really liked Sean Young back then. And the great Hector Elizondo is in there. He's fantastic. And you also have, of course, as I just mentioned, and I forgot who I just mentioned, Michael Richards is funny in there. But it's funny. I remember I loved that thing in the movie. I thought it was hilarious. And then after seeing it in the movies, I mean, I remember one time we rented it or something. And it was a flop. A bunch of us watched it. I'm like, how? It was so funny. I thought. I've still never seen every Star Trek episode either, but everything I see is pretty good.
I've seen them all multiple times.
I don't know it. I haven't seen American Horror Story.
Don't know.
I also saw North by Northwest, but I mean I got to see that again because it's so damn confusing to me. I can't stand movies. I don't
love that movie as much as a lot of people. It's okay. Some of his movies were getting a little bit, I think, static in the mid-50s. 3 in a row that I don't love. He did North by Northwest, and he did To Catch a Thief, and what was the other one? The remake of the one you talked about earlier that I can't think of the name of now.
Me either.
The Man Who Knew Too Much. I thought all those were okay, but they weren't up to Rear Window.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as you're talking, I forgot to mention Rear Window. I've seen that too.
They weren't, but they're okay. They're not bad, but I just thought, that they're a little.
Isn't this the one that has like a Son of the Invisible Man in it or something, which is pretty funny? Amazon Women on the Moon.
I don't think I've seen that all the way through.
Yeah. Getting older, folks, it gets to the point where it's like, I just want to see a movie, make a video of it for posterity and move on because it ain't like I'm going to be watching a lot of these movies hundreds of times anymore, except for favorites that I'm always going to spin.
Yep.
I really wonder sometimes, like they said, pay to do individual videos of certain episodes for TV shows. I mean, I don't know about that. You got to really find somebody that's really interested in that show. Like if I
Yeah.
did Taxi every single episode, I don't. It's a lot of videos. I don't think anybody's gonna. Maybe season by season, like highlights. You do a season and say, "This are my favorite episodes of the season," and some standouts. You know. Did John Ritter have a movie called Greatest American Hero? It wasn't him, was it? Wasn't that somebody else?
There's a show, Greatest American Hero. I don't remember a movie.
I seem to have a vision of him in a role like that, but I don't know if that was.
There was a show, and it wasn't John Ritter.
I do have a bunch of concerts, but I can't think what they are. I mean, Fleetwood Mac, The Dance, Simon and Garfunkel concert in Central Park.
I own tons of that kind of stuff.
You know, and I got Stones stuff, and so.
Yep.
Look up. Man, I was watching. This is not nothing to do with movies, but I was watching. Marv put up a video of Ringo doing "Look Up." You know,
Yeah.
and he screws it up
Yeah,
first time.
But he screws it up, in a good way.
No, it's great. It's great. It's really great. But I started realizing he should keep that. I mean, sure he's not going to get rid of it because.
Yeah.
You may never see that again.
I'm hoping they put. It seemed like it was the first song he did, so I'm hoping they keep it in the show, in the special. I doubt they will, but
no, it's not the.
When McCartney screwed up on Unplugged, they kept it in.
Yeah, so well, actually, not the thing with McCartney. They did keep that in. That was a good thing, but he screwed up more than that. I don't know if you know, because I have it. The uncut Unplugged.
Well, I have the uncut too. I haven't seen it in a long, long time.
Because he did it more. He screwed it up more than once. On the CD, they got like once. They let him screw it up once, kind of.
Yeah.
But he did it a little more than that. Now the thing with Look Up though, I mean, I made 2 videos with the set list, and I deleted both of them because there was discrepancies and everything. But the bottom line is, for what it's worth, Look Up was late. It was later on in the show. Actually, he did 2 other songs from the album first with No Problem, and then that was a later song. But the thing about it is, I mean, I don't know. It happens, It's a new song.
But he really was confused because then at the end of the video, he introduces his guest. I forget the guy's name, and then he goes running off the stage like the guy's gonna be there alone, and then he comes running back, and he's like, "I really don't know what I'm doing." Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, that was the first night, and then the night after they did it again, and I heard my friend Jeremy went to both shows, and he said the second one. So far, I haven't seen any videos yet. The second one was much tighter and better. Like it wasn't a mistake or anything, because that's what you do. You do 2 shows usually for a TV special, and then they mix and match. Mix them. Yeah. So you have like a safety. All right, let me go back because it looks like I missed some stuff here. John Ritter was effective in Sling Blade. I don't even know that he was in Sling Blade.
I haven't seen Sling Blade in so long. I don't remember him. I am kind of remember nerdy guy with glasses in Sling Blade, maybe. Been a long time.
Yeah. I can picture that movie in my mind, but I can't think of what it's called. He was a superhero in something, but I can't remember what the name of it was.
I don't remember.
It's something similar to the Greatest American Hero, but I don't think that's the name of it. Do you know about this?
I've never seen the series. It started out as a movie. The movie's good. I've never seen the series.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Hero at Large. That's the one. That's the one you mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Okay. Well, I saw McCartney in '93 in Cincinnati, and he messed up the words to Yesterday. And I laughed so hard. And I'm like, well, this isn't going to be on the album that I knew would come out eventually, and it did. I'm like, that performance isn't going to be there.
Yeah.
He messed up Yesterday. It's like, how do you mess up Yesterday?
You know what? I don't even think he sings Yesterday anymore, which is a
No, I
surprise.
don't think he does. I don't think he does. But he messed it up that night, and I was laughing. I'm like,
Is it that hard to sing for him? I mean, he sings. He's been doing Maybe I'm Amazed.
yeah, I don't know.
Maybe there's something about yesterday. Maybe there's something.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd squeak.
Well, I think Mello's not too wild, but I just think it's okay. And Tim, I haven't heard what you have said. I don't think. Have you heard anything?
The Ringo album? I like it. I don't think it's his best. I think it's probably top 5. It made me go back and check out all the stuff that I don't have by him on CD. I have it all on album, but I didn't have it on CD, and I went back and sort of regrouped, and now I have it all on CD.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's all right. You see, in his top 3, and I've had some people say, "Oh, how could you say that already?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm only going by right now. Maybe in a year or two, if I was, we do that all the time. You list your favorite album rankings, and then something shifts a little bit. So right now, I put it in the top 3. And what gets me is that I made a video about this, on my other channel, Me, Mr. Mayo. Most of you know that are there anyway. But the thing is, you get these things that are classics or whatever, and that it's grinded and they're etched in stone, and it'll never move. Like the Ringo, that's his best album. That's it. Ringo, the self-titled, that's it. There can never be anything better than Ringo because we know how great it is and the reputation. It's got all the Beatles on it, and et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, this one rivals it as far as I'm concerned. Except you got the hits on there like Photograph and You're 16, and but is it really better?
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder consistently. I don't know. I mean, it is consistent. I think the Ringo album is consistently good, but in some ways, this is more consistent to me. Even I don't know, but you wouldn't dare say this was his best album. You couldn't do that. That's what I mean. Like with Paul, you're never going to say it's got to be Band on the Run or it's got to be Ram or something like that. You're never going to say, you know what? I think Egypt Station was which I don't. By the bad example, because I don't care for Egypt Station.
No.
But nobody's ever going to say, well, album was so good, it's probably his best. No, the best's always got to come in the beginning, or like the Billy Joel. I don't even know all Billy Joel's albums, but The Stranger, right? I imagine that nothing is going to be better than The Stranger, even though I like Glass Houses.
Yeah, I think most people would say The Stranger. I think actually Turnstiles is probably Billy Joel's best album, to be honest. The one before didn't have any hits on it.
Which one?
Turnstiles.
Oh, yeah.
No hits on it, but every song on it is great.
No,
I can't say that for The Stranger.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's funny. Like there's some albums that you're like, oh, this is the greatest album. When you think about it, like they could be maybe say this got like 12 songs on it. Maybe like 9 of them you love and 3 you don't. But the 9 is so strong that this is it. But like I don't love every song on Band on the Run 100%, but it's got such great strong stuff on it that it's hard not to think of it as among the best.
Yeah.
I know. We're talking about Unplugged in 1991. Paul sang "We Can Work It Out." He forgot the words.
Yeah.
And he goes, you could hear it. He goes, I only got the words wrong, didn't I? And then he goes, okay, this is so informal. We'll start again.
Yeah.
And then he does it again. And that's what you hear on the CD, but he actually screwed it up a second time. He goes, oh, Jesus. Like I said, it's like they didn't plug it, which is fine. They did a good edit of it. One blunder,
Yeah. And when I saw him sing mess up yesterday, he sang the second verse first and then the first verse second. Just like, what is he doing? But he didn't stop. He didn't acknowledge it. He just kept going like a true pro. You know, he just got through it.
Now I know. Again, if Tom was here, I tease him a little bit. I went on Tom Hunyadi's show. He did a 2 legs thing today where he was talking about different things, a live Q&A, and I talked to him about the album and the Ringo album, the new Ringo album, Look Up, and his feeling on it was that he's disappointed because it's not real country like he would expected real country, and this is country, he said, for people who don't like country. And I kind of know what he's saying. I do that with movies. Keep it on a movie thing, right? Like I say, like that movie Twilight. You know the Twilight series? Is that the romantic thing?
I've never seen it, but
Is it called Twilight with what's her name in it? Oh boy,
well, there is
Kristen Stewart. And I say those are horror movies for people who don't like horror movies. So I understand all that, but I just felt, and I actually popped on the show for like 10 minutes to talk with him about it. But I just thought it would be a shame to not like songs, if that's the case, just because you expected it to be more country and they're not as country. Some of them, a couple here don't think country at all. So but do you like the song? Forget it. Like, in other words, if somebody handed you a cassette tape, if they handed Tom a cassette tape and said, here's a new album by Ringo, no title, no genre, no pictures, no nothing, no song titles, no artists. Just listen to this. Would you like it better? If that's what I want, just on their own.
Well, I'll say it's way more country than the Beyonce country album. I'll say that.
Last night, Ringo did the same songs he did the first night, which I guess I could understand that.
They're doing a special. Yeah, they would have to. They're doing a special. So,
they got to like have 2 goes at him. You can like 2 versions to like edit or fix whatever you want to do. The thing I was disappointed with, although I understood the whole thing, was that Ringo was off stage for half of the songs. You know, he did songs like "Have You Seen My Baby" from the Ringo album, or "You Don't Know Me at All" from Ringo's Roto Gravure, but he wasn't on stage. Other people sang them and did them.
Oh,
it was like a tribute to Ringo, like Concert for George. It was like, so I'm like,
and I think that's probably why Ringo ran off stage for Photograph. He probably thought that guy was going to sing it, and then he comes running back on.
He gets mixed up as to like which songs I'm supposed to be here for.
He got mixed up, but
And then when I was reading the set list, it said I don't want to spoil the party, and I'm saying, oh man, I got that would be so cool. But it's Sheryl Crow and Molly Tuttle singing it, and Ringo's off stage, which is nothing wrong with that. So, it becomes a tribute. It's a tribute to Ringo, the show.
Yeah.
With him singing too. It's like it's a tribute to Ringo and country in general. It'll be. I'm going to judge when the show comes out. We talked about this earlier, Matthew. Neither one of us has much to say, right?
Yeah, and I'm not a big. I mean, The Elephant Man was a good movie. Other than, I don't have.
Yeah, I never saw that all the way, but I saw some of it. It's good.
Well, The Elephant Man was worth seeing. But yeah, so I was going back, listening off topic for a second, listening to picking up the stuff that I didn't have on CD, and I haven't heard a while about Ringo. And I came to the decision that besides the stuff he did with Mark Hudson, I don't think he's ever done an album without at least one country song on it.
Well, yeah, I know. I can think of some now in my mind.
Or at least country-ish sounding. You know? I mean, there's at least one on pretty much everything.
Black and White Show. Okay, I'm drawing a blank here. Yeah, And I still say, you know, again, I know where we're getting into Ringo and music is supposed to be movies, but hey, we're trying to fill out some time anyway. But I really think if people have fans that like the Beatles and like Ringo when he sings on the Beatles and everything, and like some of his early hits, if you open-mindedly listen to at some point every one of Ringo's albums, there's 21 of them now. I'm not counting the EPs. Well, the 21 albums and the EPs. I think you'll find enough songs you like. I dare say that you could make a disc or two of the best of. You know, you could
easily.
You know, I really do. You know, but I feel sorry for you. Come on, man, don't do it to yourself. Come on, I'm getting off sugar and bread. I've been doing good. It's not easy. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. I'm trying to get together a show on the other channel for Look Up, a ranking show, ranking the songs and talking about the album. And I have a man that's going to return, that wants to return. I asked him. So I'm just trying to see. Oh, that's a nice picture. Anyway, but I'm still waiting for somebody to return. Right? Yeah, well, it's a Rotogravure is an album I'm starting to feel better about these days.
Yeah, I am going back and listening to it. I didn't even hate Bad Boy, which has always been my least favorite Beatles solo album.
Wow.
I didn't even hate that as much as I used to. I still can't stand Where Did Our Love Go. But
well, that's okay. That's okay. I'll let you get away with that.
The rest of it, I wasn't really.
Yeah, Where Did Our Love Go is the Star Wars disco-y version of that thing, whatever you want to call it. But, I mean, I can handle it because I like the song, but it's not, obviously, it's not as great as stuff. But there's so many songs on there. Like I think people after Ringo the Fourth, which I still like tracks on there, Ringo the Fourth, I still think they kind of lump Bad Boy in too much with that. And I really think there's some songs on there that are pretty good. That yeah. What's Ringo's best film? Well, they say I haven't seen it in a while. I'm forgetting it now. Boy, it's so easy, man, to forget the names of it. Wow, David Essex. What the heck is the name of it? I know it.
Oh, the David Essex film.
Jeez, I know it like I know. Isn't it? That'll be the day. I know it like I know A Hard Day's Night. I mean, the name.
I think it's Blind Man.
You like Blind Man?
Blind Man is really good. If you like spaghetti westerns, Ringo's in a spaghetti western, and it's a good one.
Yeah.
And he doesn't just play a minor character either.
He plays a nasty character in it against type.
Yeah.
Well, Ringo can be nasty, but you know what I mean with autographs. But
yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I hope I can find my copy because I got it. And I never watched it all the way, but I watched a lot of it. Yeah, I've been meaning to do that and put a review up. Now, a movie like that, does it go on the movie channel or does it go on the Beatles related channel? That's the thing.
I can tell you his worst film too, if you want.
Well,
it's pretty obvious.
No, there's so many of them. What I mean, Sextet? No, I don't know.
Sextet. Yes. It's terrible.
No, I like Caveman. I like it. It's a screwball comedy. You know? He's good in it. Screwball comedy. Best. Well, I hope you consider it. I mean, some people they just don't like Ringo's voice much and everything. I like Ringo's voice. I'm not going to ever call him a great singer, in the classic vein, but love it. I think it's a good comedy. It's funny. Ringo's good in it, and, yeah.
I saw it in the theater, and I enjoyed from the very first subtitle that came on the screen. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. I think they have a date or something, and it's something.
Yeah,
Joke.
it was. Well, yeah, but it's a little bit of a tribute.
I forgot what it was.
It was 1,000,000 years ago, October 9th.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Lennon's birthday. And
Right.
I was like, okay, I'm going to like this movie.
Yeah. And that's where he met Barbara Bach on the set of that.
Yep. I remember them being on Mike Douglas together. And it was probably one of their first public appearances. They were promoting Caveman together.
Yeah. He did a lot of that. Yeah, I know what that means too. Tuka Luna. I love you. What loves Lana? Zug Zug. I always thought they should have did a Caveman too, but not. I mean, it's a little too late now. Well, I don't know. He looks a little like the character right now in Caveman a little bit. It's a little late, but I told you what I always wanted to keep it with movies. I always wanted Quentin Tarantino to use Ringo in a movie, against type, like kind of like you like Blind Man, like something like that, where Ringo's like in a movie and he's like a scumbag or something. I really, because he does that with old actors that weren't working for a while. That's how he resurrected John Travolta's career.
But I think he does it for people that actually need it and want it, and I don't think Ringo needs it or wants it, But that usually when he does it, it's for people that have been trying to get work and can't get work and blah blah. So he gives them work, and then their career takes off.
I just realized that I got to leave in like 3 minutes. I forgot.
Okay.
I lost track of time. So we're here. All right. Well, I got to go now, but I'm glad I caught the clock. All right, Tim. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody. This turned into a lot of fun. Ringo saved the day again.
Yeah,
Ringo. But talk to you all soon next time. Take care, everybody.